Welcome to My Garden is a trance experience for your personal enjoyment and relaxation. It is copyright of Martin Johnson, 8020coaching.co.uk. If you're doing anything that needs your full conscious attention or looking after anyone else, switch off this recording now. Wait until it's completely safe to enjoy an inner experience of peace and well-being without anything else going on. Welcome to my garden, a place where things seed, grow, and transform, where you can reflect or relax or do some work or all. However you'll want to use this is okay, while I guide you around the garden. And of course you may wonder, how can you be here if you are already somewhere else? And you're already no inside. That's perfectly normal, as we all drift off at one level or another in many different kinds of ways. Even when we think we are focused, we can drift momentarily to some other place, thought, or experience. The best ones are those that please us, bring a smile to our face, or somehow otherwise allow some useful exploration, or pause, or distraction, which can be useful for a while, certainly when you choose the moment to quieten down the mind. Find a level of calm and comfort to explore, or be guided by your inner wisdom or unconscious awareness, daydreaming, dozing, letting your eyes rest or close now or later, as they are heavy enough, or just taking a moment out are all ways of taking a moment for you and your body and mind to experience things differently to the everyday conscious thoughts, busyness and stuff that we all do. So now is a time you could take a break here in my garden as you join me on a journey of discovery and experience what's useful for you. And there will certainly be sounds, images and feelings, ones that initially you could be aware of outside, and others you could start to be more aware of inside. Maybe you hear the sounds of life around you, perhaps cars going by somewhere, or aircraft overhead as people journey to another place. Do you feel the air around you, or experience the sounds of nature, more or less? Are there people talking somewhere, or devices that beep or ring and signal something is happening? And somehow that could reassure you how natural it is at the same time to experience things on the inside, and how things can slow down and relax a little more as you can begin to enjoy that transition now. That's right. And when I mention my garden, maybe you've already formed some kind of impression of what that could be like, if you've not actually seen it yet before. And also, in that case, you could expect there could be some surprises, as what you thought might not be completely the case. How could you know if this is the first time? Or even a time when, having been before, you'd experienced something else, or somehow more deeply than previously, as these kinds of experiences tend to build. And does it even matter the way you follow my words and invitations, or interpret them in the way that works for you? Building your own sensory experience and discovery is a nice way to recognize you are always in control, or use the ability to direct your own attention and behaviors to serve you. You'll know at some kind of level your true potential. But before you explore all of that, you'll need to know a bit more about my garden and where we will start or continue next. And if you've been here before, you'll know there are 3 distinct levels to explore. And a natural place to start could be at the top, which already might be different because normally in my garden one enters at the bottom. And at the very top of my garden is a rustic wooden fence, open and easy to cross or climb over, rather like you'd see in the countryside around a field. It serves its purpose to set a boundary, and at the same time connect the garden with the world outside. Allow an extended view and experience into other different gardens and worlds. The fence, certainly to me, gives a feeling of security and sanctuary, as it's often useful to have a quiet space for yourself, which of course means you can then decide when and what to share, as I'm demonstrating right now with you, so that connection can take place with all of this. And beside the fence is an old apple tree. The trunk twists and divides and opens out with many branches, themselves forming an intricate structure, leading to an even more broader canopy. How clearly can you see the roots as they enter the ground? Provide structure and strength to what is more visible above. And I don't know how far those roots spread. I suspect quite far, as underneath is another world that we rarely see, unless we dig a little deeper. But we've not even got to the shed yet, where you'd expect to find all the tools you'd ever need. Right there. Collected, borrowed, or made over time. And around the base of the tree it might amaze you to see, depending on the time of year, wild polyanthers that have seeded themselves, lovely clumps of colour that spring up on their own, being very resilient, because even when one's walked around the roots of the tree, collecting all the fruit in summer, or done some weeding and pruning back at other times, the polyanthers can appear to get knocked back or disappear. And then suddenly they spring back up again, looking and blooming even more colourful and strong, and naturally regenerating, so that all the colour and brightness and hope spreads even further. And this top layer is very much about young growth as well. As we head towards the steps down, we pass the vegetable patch, where things are seeded and left to grow, with just the right amount of attention, weeding away unnecessary growth, taking extra time to tender and nurture the new growth in drier periods, and where you can, be ready to enjoy the produce of all this process. But we are not stopping there for now, because we have reached the first step to go down to the next layer. 5 steps to take. Now, it's easy to step down from 5 to 4, and then 4 to 3. Feel the sense of gravity on your body, which is a nice signal to relax and enjoy the rest of the steps more deeply down. 3 to 2, and then 2 to 1. As you step down onto the next level, you realize that ahead of you is a large lawn, bordered to the left and right by very mature shrubs and trees. And of course, being mature, their beauty could be overlooked unless you take time to appreciate what you've already got. And this may even come easily, as the roots are already firmly planted deep below the surface of this. Now, towards your right is an interesting surprise, a place to dwell a moment as you step between the pillars of the pergola. You might hear and sense the texture of the gravel beneath your feet. And how much can you enjoy the discovery? As you look down, you realize what seems all one colour is actually a wealth of colour, variety and sounds there beneath your feet all the time. That so often we can miss what seems obvious, and now you realize there is such a wealth of resource and surprise that you stand on and understand. Did you notice yet? The little wooden frog or the golden tie sculpture in the corner? Is it a serene Buddha or some kind of goddess? And does it matter what this represents to you, as you can decide for yourself? So that you could take a pause here, sitting on the bench, or just stand on your own 2 feet, supported by all of these thoughts and what's around you. all the natural resources to be found here in the garden. As you look to the blue sky, you notice even more delights, like the honeysuckle weaving along the frame of the pergola, or the glass-coloured candle lights suspended, glowing and glinting in the sun. And this is perhaps a good place to survey what delights lay in front of you that perhaps you hadn't previously fully realized yet. And if you've forgotten, your unconscious still does know there is another level down. That's right, ahead of you, when you are ready. You can cross the lawn to the final set of steps to reach the third level, which is a place to connect and connect up in this garden, and the transition to other places and opportunities. 7 steps this time. As you come to the edge of the lawn, you are already on step 7, because you are descending down. It's easy to step down to 6. And then 5. Noticing as you step down through the steps carved into the landscape, you can access a different view. As you pause for a brief moment, how much are you anticipating what you would like to discover on this next level? As you move to 4 and then down to 3, feeling so relaxed and ready to just feel truly yourself and the best of who you can be. 2. Even more peaceful experience what would be most useful to find here, and feel truly at 1, so that you can step off that final step down and enjoy taking a moment, as this is the link to what you want, to appreciate, acknowledge and recognize. You could wander over to the bench by the palm, or sit on one of the recliners by the table, which of course represents a place that can be used in so many ways. To appreciate the company of close friends and meet new. To enjoy relaxing after a day's activities. To spend time with loved ones, or just have time to yourself. You choose what's right for the moment. And as much as you might absorb yourself in these thoughts, your unconscious could have already noticed or expected the refreshing sounds of water from the fountain, which invite you to see things freshly.
You can see clearly.
There in front of you.
Feel refreshed.
A wonderful place for nature,
You are invigorated.
and where natural things happen
You are
instinctively
able to access all
without even trying. The irises in the pond, if it's that time of year,
You are amazing.
flowering yellow and lilac,
Take the actions you need
The lilies, are they in bud,
You take
all ready to flower,
steps towards your
and their leaves provide cover for the golden-coloured fish below, as they
peaceful.
float or drift
You are
or go even deeper into that inner world
able.
and wonder
You feel strong.
of delightful things to discover here
You can decide
now.
what's best for you.
And maybe
You
you
are brilliant.
notice the purple dragonflies
You are
hovering,
able to use all the
such
powers
amazing
of your
display
mind
of ability
to be well
as
and
they
keep well.
avoid obstacles instinctively
Take the
and
steps
effortlessly
you want.
glide to both new and known places as part of the
You are
journey
more than you realise.
they are on.
You have all
And there is
that
so
you
much
need.
more to discover here.
You are strong.
The ways to
You are able.
move forward next.
You have
All the
that
resources
it
one
is.
needs.
You can
That
achieve
perhaps it's a
what you
good
want
time to
achieve.
take a few minutes for your own
You are
discoveries.
confident and capable.
And now that you've journeyed here in your own way, you could know that this kind of journey or experience could easily be available to you whenever you want or need. Just as easily as stepping out or down into a garden where things grow, get tended to, are sorted, and unnecessary clutter weeded away, to provide foundations and opportunities for all the sorts of things that are important to you, can experience this and other versions. Just like in a dream where things piece together in the background during a pleasant night's rest, over the days, weeks and months to come, as you allow all those wonderful feelings, insights, ideas or understandings to continue, seed, bloom, intensify, and even more deeply, you decide. And it's easy to forget, as so much has been going on, so much to see and experience. Things which are not important to remember consciously, until you need them, when things are ready. Just like you don't need to remember things like your phone number all the time, only when you need it. Or you have a nice meal, but you don't need to remember all the different elements to know you've had a satisfying meal. You can just let it digest, let it settle and set. You could also understand, I'd imagine, that as much as it's lovely to step out into a garden, it's also good to connect back up by returning your steps up to the second layer, to where you discovered the lawn. Go back up those 7 steps now to that level, where you can wander back across the lawn. Will you take the same path or wander differently? And momentarily pause at the bottom of the final set of steps up to the first level. And if it's a time and place when you want to drift off for a pleasant nap or night's rest, you can just do that now. I wish you pleasant dreams. However, if you are ready to return in a moment, slowly and gently to full conscious awareness, as I count from 1 to 5, the steps. Take the first step from 1 to 2 now. As you feel lighter from having achieved so much, relaxation, having just let the conscious mind wander or sleep, while your unconscious has been listening to all the meanings that fit with your values and best intentions for yourself, to feel the best of yourself and energized by all of this. As you step from 2 to 3, at the same time bring with you all of your discoveries, as your unconscious will know what to do later, while you just enjoy sensing the wonderful growing feelings or sensations of having rested here in the garden while you explored, feeling confidence within you growing and glowing, stepping up from 3 to 4 now, and nearly there as you look ahead to see the apple tree where all this started. If you don't remember, that's okay, as it will occur to you later to connect it that way, or in other ways, to your own deep-rooted foundation and reassurance. As all of this spreads out in front of you, and as you look up towards the sky ready to take that 5th step, you can become more aware of the outside world, the bigger picture, as your ears readjust to the sounds of the outside world, and you are more aware of your body, how your feet and legs are connected to your trunk, and the lovely feelings as your eyes open fully, coming up all the way. 5, free movement returns to all of your body, fully awake and smile, ready for the next part of your day. Welcome back.